Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to King Arena on the campus of Wheaton College here in Wheaton, Illinois, as we are getting set for CCIW men's basketball tournament action between the third-seeded Carthage Firebirds and the number 2 seed in this tournament, the North Park University Vikings. We are just about ready to get underway here in King Arena. Fans still filing in from both of these schools for this neutral site game. I'm Gabriel Woodowis. I'm joined by former Wheaton assistant men's basketball coach Owen Handy on color commentary. And in just a few seconds, we are going to toss it over to our PA announcer extraordinaire, Dave Pugsley, to get us underway with the sportsmanship statement, the national anthem, and the starting lineups. Come back in just a couple of minutes for tip-off.
Student athletes, coaches, and fans, we request your cooperation in supporting the student athletes and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, derogatory comments, or other intimidating actions directed at student athletes, officials, team representative, or other fans will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal. The CCIW has many traditions, but bad behavior is not one of them. We appreciate your cooperation in creating a safe and positive game environment for everyone. Respect, it's the name of the game. At this time, we would like to recognize the CCIW All-Conference team members who are competing in tonight's contest. From Carthage College on the second team, A.J. Johnson and Antoine Nesbitt. And on the first team, Philip Bulatovic. From North Park University, second team, Marquise Jackson. And on the first team, Shamar Pumphrey and Colden Van Landingham. Let's give them a round of applause. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask you please rise for the playing of our national anthem. Here are the starting lineups for this evening's game. From Carthage, number 3, a 6'1" sophomore from Rock Island, Illinois, Colton Segal. From North Park University, number 1, a 6' even junior from Chicago, Shamar Pumphrey. From Carthage, number 5, a 6'4", 170 senior, sophomore from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Antoine Nesbitt. From North Park, number 5, a 6'1" sophomore from Richmond, Indiana, Colden Van Landingham. From the Firebirds, number 11, a 6'5" senior from Harwood Heights, Illinois, Philip Bulatovic. From North Park, number 12, a 6'4" senior from Bellwood, Illinois, Jalen Boyd. From Carthage, number 15, a 6'3" sophomore from Oswego, Illinois, A.J. Johnson. From the Vikings, number 24, a 6'2" junior from Rockford, Illinois, Quillen Dixon. From the Firebirds, number 50, a 6'8" freshman from Lansing, Illinois, Julian Campbell. From North Park, number 34, a 6'7" senior from Bellwood, Illinois, Jordan Boyd. The head coach for Carthage, Steve Jerakovic. From North Park, Sean Smith. The officials for tonight's game, Bobby Daw, Kenneth Moreland, and Jerry Scherzinger.
All right, folks, welcome back here on the campus of Wheaton College inside King Arena as we are just about ready for tip-off in this neutral site CCIW men's basketball tournament semifinal. Gabriel Woodowis alongside Owen Handy, bringing you what Owen should be really a fun semifinal matchup.
Yeah, absolutely. We got a contrast of styles here, Gabriel. North Park looking for a very up-tempo game, trying to force turnovers, win the possession battle. Carthage very efficient, likes more of a controlled half-court game. Should be a fun one.
The two highest scoring offenses in the CCIW this season. They played a almost 200-point shootout in North Park in Chicago earlier this season, and then the Vikings edging the Firebirds by just 3 points a couple of weeks ago in their second matchup of the regular season. It will be the third-seeded Carthage Firebirds controlling the tip to begin tonight's matchup. This is Antoine Nesbitt moving it around the perimeter. Julian Campbell gets an early touch. Campbell will launch it from deep, leaves it just short, and a rebound for North Park's first-team all-conference player, Colton Van Landingen. Here's Jordan Boyd on the outside, hands off to Van Landingen, drives in, and the first points of the contest go to the Vikings. A.J. Johnson bringing it up the floor for the Firebirds. Dishes off to Colton Sigel. Pretty good crowd inside King Arena here tonight, Owen, for this neutral site matchup.
Yeah, lot of red behind us, a lot of red and black. We got a significant Carthage contingent over here.
Julian Campbell goes tumbling to the floor, and we will have a shot clock violation on the Firebirds. A positive start here for North Park.
Yeah, and seen some early deliberation by Carthage. They are not settling at the offensive end. You know, they're almost 50% from the floor on the season. They're so efficient offensively, not going to take a bad shot.
That's a great point. They do lead the CCIW in field goal percentage. A very efficient offense, as Owen said a couple of minutes ago. This Firebirds will be disappointed to come up fruitless on their first two trips down the floor.
One of the big keys, I think, for Carthage is to limit their live ball turnovers. The more they can get to the half court, the better off they're going to be.
First time since 2017 that these two programs have made it to this stage of the CCIW tournament on the men's side. Great achievement for both of these two coaches. North Park comes up short on the three on their last possession. Here's Filip Balatovich. A.J. Johnson, step back jumper, splashes it in, and we're tied at 2. Van Landingen shrugs off his defender, pulls up from the free throw line, cash. Quick hands there defensively for North Park, but it goes out of bounds and it will stay with Carthage.
These three North Park guards, Pumphrey, Van Landingham, and Jackson, so skilled playing at that pace.
It is a fierce backcourt triumvirate for this Vikings team. A major reason why they've had such a successful season. 20 wins for the first time since 1987 for North Park. And they hold Carthage scoreless again down the floor, pushing the pace down on the other end. Three is missed by Quillen Dixon, and Carthage will bring it back down the other way.
A lot of mid-range early for Carthage.
This is Shamar Pumphrey on the ball. Another outside look for Dixon. Once again, can't connect. Mentioned the offensive efficiency for both these teams and how much they like to score. They're getting the shots up, but they aren't falling early here in King Arena. Here's Baladovic going to work inside. Nice touch off the glass to tie it at 4. Van Landingham shot fake. Gets it back from Boyd. This is Jalen Boyd. Thought about the shot, will instead keep the ball. And now will pull up for a long 2 and sinks it in. Vikings beginning to generate a little bit of offensive momentum here to nudge back in front at 6-4. That's a step back 3-point attempt there for Colton Sigel. Can't connect. North Park ball. Here's Van Landingham, nearly lost control. The Vikings will keep it. Jalen Boyd going to work inside against Baladovic. Not much you can do against a shot like that.
No, such good extension there. Sometimes as a defender, you do everything you can, and you got to tip your cap to the offensive player who just makes a play.
We've seen him make those kinds of plays all season long to help steer this Vikings offense. That's a good-looking 3 right there from A.J. Johnson, and Carthage responds.
Carthage doing a great job breaking the press, getting the ball into the paint, collapsing the defense, and then back out to the shooter.
And we are seeing the tempo in this game being upped by the minute as Shamar Pumphrey, a stylish step-back 2-pointer off the board. And Pumphrey makes the defensive play. Coast to coast here for North Park. Can he corral the layup? Yes, he can. And suddenly it's a 5-point lead for the second-seeded team. Baladovic doubled underneath the hoop, and another turnover, getting the steals early and a foul call here. And head coach Sean Smith is fired up on the Vikings sideline.
Yeah, Gabriel, we talked early about North Park winning by making it a possession-based game, right? If you can win the possession battle, you can win the game. They're actually shooting a lower percentage from the floor on the season than their opponents, 45% and 43%, but have attempted 240 more field goals and 91 more free throws. You think about that possession difference, that comes off a offensive rebounding gap of plus 113, a turnover gap of plus 194. Well, you don't have to be an incredibly efficient offensive team when you're creating that many more, that net possession differential. And so you look at how do those two statistics look early? Well, North Park has no offensive rebounds, so Carthage doing fine there. But you're talking about those turnovers, 3 turnovers early for Carthage. You got a 5-point gap on the scoreboard, and really that's your difference at this point.
Yeah, and as you said, it's just common sense that you're going to win a lot of basketball games when you have the ball so much more than your opponents. You're getting up all those shots. A huge differential, as you mentioned. North Park, best turnover margin by far in the CCIW this year at plus 7.76. They know how to take the ball away from their opponents and turn it into points on the other end. Surprising that there has been 0 offensive rebounds for the Vikings so far in this game. They lead the CCIW in offensive rebounding this season, gathering in 14 boards per contest. But just efficient shooting so far from the Vikings. There hasn't been a need to get it off the offensive glass. And now they have the ball with a 5-point lead. Marquise Jackson, the second team All-CCIW guard, checking in for the first time for the Vikings. He's on the ball now. Matched up against Sigel in the paint, hands off to Van Landingham. And we will get a charge call on Van Landingham. He has a surprised look on his face, but the Firebirds doing well there to force the turnover.
And may have got away with one earlier in the game in a very similar situation.
Sigel did pretty well to sell that one. Plenty of contact, but he knew to hit the ground early, force the referee to make a decision there. And now teammate A.J. Johnson will bring it up for the Firebirds as they look to cut it back down to one possession. Corrals the ball up in the air, drives in the paint, and he'll go to the line for 2 shots.
And that was a pretty easy block charge because Pumphrey was grounded in the arc on the play.
As we take a look at the replay here, and that's a great call. Feet were clearly on the arc line, and it will be a pair of free throws here for Johnson.
Block charge, especially on a bang-bang play, historically one of the toughest calls to make just because it happens so quickly. You got 2 moving players, and putting that line down has really smoothed out the officiating of those plays.
That's a great point. The referee was in good position to make that call underneath the North Park basket. Nearly a turnover, and it will be a turnover there for the Vikings. Firebirds bench fired up after some good defensive effort right there. So you can see in behind Sigel inbounding the ball is the Elmhurst University men's basketball team, and the Wheaton men's basketball team is down on the other end, sitting by the North Park bench. Those 2 teams getting ready for their semifinal at 7:15 p.m. We hope you'll come back and join us for that one as A.J. Johnson splashes in a 3, and we are tied at 12 apiece.
And that's the one that's available against this North Park press. Carthage has found that corner twice, that corner 3 twice after breaking the press.
And Landingham does well to step back in bounds before gathering that rebound. North Park will maintain possession here. This is Jackson going to work with 6 on the shot clock, puts up the shot, and will get a foul call. He'll go to the line for 2.
And that's just kind of a silly foul at that point. You forced a tough fadeaway jumper, and you bail him out by sending him to the line for the easy ones.
Yeah, Sigel didn't like that call, nor did the Carthage bench, but it looked like there was pretty clear contact on the wrist. As you said, kind of an unnecessary foul, as he wasn't going to make that shot anyway. So a bailout here for North Park. And Jackson sinks the first of 2 free throws as the Vikings will make 3 changes off the bench.
Generally going to be happy with a defensive possession that ends with that mid-range pull-up jumper. It's a low-efficiency shot. Make or miss, it's usually a good outcome.
Chance to go up by 2 here for the Vikings, but he can't convert on the second free throw. He'll stay at 13-12 as Carthage has a chance to take the lead. Quick offense, Antoine Nesbitt coming down the other end, and the Firebirds have their first advantage. Lance Nelson into the game now for the Vikings. Hands off, and smart basketball right there from Adam Bolwa just to maintain possession, throwing it off of his Carthage defender.
And talking about the importance of protecting possession going into that timeout, turnovers were 3-0, they're now 3-2, and Carthage is right back in it.
Good adjustments from head coach Steve Jarakovic. Paying dividends already for the Firebirds to nudge them in front at 14-13. We'll see if the Vikings can respond on this possession. It's Devontae Robinson. Here's Bolwa twisting, can't quite get the layup to go. Defensive rebound for the Firebirds. 7 minutes into this first semifinal of the 2023 CCIW men's basketball tournament. That's a nice interior slip pass and an easy layup for Anthony Bernero.
Very heady play. Anthony, the son of Carthage's women's coach, Tim Bernero. Sort of play you expect from a coach's kid.
High IQ offense right now from the Firebirds as they look to pull this neutral court upset against the team that they split with in the regular season. As previously mentioned, that was an explosive drive to the basket by Marquise Jackson. He can't get it to finish, but teammate Carl Polk Jr. is there to clean up, and it's back to a 1-point lead for Carthage. We'll have an offensive foul call there, it looks like, and it will be a turnover resulting in the North Park ball. That foul is charged to A.J. Johnson on Carthage. And North Park once again with the chance to take the lead on this trip. There's a three right there. Big shot for the Vikings to nudge back in front, 18-16. And what looked like a very tasty semifinal matchup on paper is already playing out that way as these two teams go back and forth in King Arena. Antoine Nesbitt once again with the quick feet, but can't convert on the layup, and North Park looks to get out in transition. Shamar Pumphrey going fast to the hoop, offensive foul. See the replay here, and yeah, there was a push-off. Referee called it right away.
And again, not a tricky call. He changed his line to create the contact. There's really no two ways about that.
So we'll have a media timeout here as we are under 12 minutes to go in this first half. North Park 18-16 early lead. Owen, what's impressed you most from both teams in the early minutes of this one?
Well, you know, we talked about the contrast of styles. Carthage very comfortable, you know, the pressure hasn't really hurt them. They look comfortable against the pressure. They had those kind of easy turnovers, but they clearly know how they want to attack it. You're seeing them do a nice job of getting the ball into the middle against the pressure. I think the other thing we're seeing out of them is, well, Coach Jurakovic on that last play really calling for the ball to get reversed. You know, when you're playing against so many different ways to defend a ball screen, and I think he's looking for where are the mismatches, who are the guys that we want to exploit when we can. He liked that Nesbitt matchup last time down, and sure enough, Nesbitt got there. That was a miss, not a stop, right? So Carthage looking, I think, pretty comfortable against the pressure, but North Park doing some of the things that they need to do, right? They have turned live ball turnovers into easy points. You know, early on they didn't have a ton of offensive rebounds, but they've converted an offensive rebound to a bucket recently. So we're seeing two teams, you know, at this point in the season, your identity for who you are is how you're going to win or how you're going to lose. And we're seeing two teams that are comfortable with what their identity tells them to be right now.
It definitely feels like the Vikings have been able to implement the kind of style and pace that they love to play at in the early minutes of this one, but Carthage really holding their own, as Owen said, doing well to fight through that pressure and create some turnovers of their own at the other end of the floor. Here's A.J. Johnson for the Firebirds, a couple of big three-pointers already in this game for him. Bernero dishes off to Nesbitt, looking inside for Baladovic. Good hands right there from Marquise Jackson, but it will stay with the Firebirds.
Nesbitt locked in on his entry there, didn't look him off. There was no question where he was going there, and probably lucky to retain possession.
Another steal forced by North Park, and this is Marquise Jackson out in transition. Surprising miss from him on the seemingly give-me layup, but the Vikings will keep possession. You can tell he's frustrated not to have converted that fast break opportunity. Carthage actually doing pretty well to get back in transition there, not give him the easy basket. North Park keeping the ball, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, I think one of the tricks for Carthage, you know, they've got a little bit shorter bench, you know, playing 7, 7.5, maybe 8. So you don't want to end up in those situations where you need to foul to prevent an easy bucket.
Jalen Boyd against Baladovic out in the perimeter. Looks for some space inside. Baladovic not giving him anything, but finds Jordan Boyd. Turnaround no good, and a contested rebound there, and we will get a jump ball call, and it will stay with the Vikings.
Jackson doing a nice job of sitting on top of that and earning the tie-up.
And there is that offensive rebounding prowess that we've talked about with this Vikings team. Physical underneath the basket, not afraid to get their bodies in there and try to come down with any loose board. Here's Jordan Boyd, size mismatch against Anthony Bernero. Can't use it to his advantage, and it will be a turnover.
Yeah, and twice that possession they went to Boyd. Bernero does such a nice job of creating a little bit of space and walling up, not giving an inch and not fouling.
A.J. Johnson double teamed at half court, does well to fight through it. And Baladovic just a little bit too much steam on that pass, and it nearly results in another turnover. A bit of a scrambled, chaotic game right now. Carthage finally able to maintain possession and slow things down. Shot clock winding down. Bernero doesn't want to take the three, hands off to Tanner Lamb. He forces one up. Great offensive rebound there from Johnson to keep the play alive. Can't convert on the jumper, but another offensive rebound. Bernero can't get it to go. Both teams scrambling right now. Carthage still with the ball. A chance to take the lead, but the three-pointer is no good. And now, finally, it will be Vikings basketball.
Yeah, you saw Carthage, that possession early really looked sped up. Again, that pressure doesn't always turn into turnovers, but if it turns into speeding up and playing at a pace you're not comfortable, it's still having an impact.
Yeah, they did really well to keep that possession alive on the offensive glass. North Park coach Sean Smith can't have been happy with his team not bringing down the defensive rebound, but eventually they do come away, and that is an offensive foul there on Jordan Boyd.
You could almost smell that one coming after the last two times they went to him. Bernero does such a good job of staying centered, and that's a point of emphasis for the officials this year. They want to call that first blow in the post. If the offensive player puts a shoulder into him, it's an offensive foul.
It'll be interesting to see what kind of offensive adjustments North Park makes on their next trip down the floor, having come up fruitless through Jordan Boyd the last couple trips down. Carthage winning that matchup right now. Here's Balatovich. Firebirds a chance to tie or take the lead on this possession as we are into the last 10 minutes of the first half. Fans still filling into King Arena. It's a good atmosphere, as we mentioned a few minutes ago, for this neutral site semifinal. Here's Julian Campbell, barely any touches on the ball so far, and he leaves that one off the side of the backboard. North Park pushing the pace once again and rejected at the rim by Antoine Nesbitt. Get up there, young fella.
What a play by Nesbitt, and then Van Landingham's response afterwards is definitely one of frustration. I mean, that was a spectacular play.
As we get a look here on the replay, the two number 5s going at it, and Van Landingham, when he leaves the floor, he's probably thinking layup, and it did not result that way. That play really underlining the defensive energy we've seen so far from the Firebirds. North Park is winning this game, outscoring Carthage 18-16, but they have really had to fight for almost all of their baskets so far. Tough layup, and it was nearly an and-one situation. That ball was in and out like a fast food restaurant as it rolled around the rim.
And Johnson just not feeling particularly, most of the time, not feeling particularly rushed by the pressure. We've seen a couple possessions where he's gotten sped up, but he's playing with such a confident pace right now.
Definitely feels like the energy level and the intensity from both teams and really both benches, including the head coaches, has definitely been ratcheted up here in the last few minutes. This game being taken to another level as Johnson ties the game from the free throw line. Colton Sigel will come in off the bench to replace Balatovich. And we'll see if the Vikings can respond offensively. Jackson bringing it up the floor, dishes off to Dixon. Kick back out to Jackson. North Park will slow it down a little bit, but here's a long three, and that was a pretty shot from Jalen Boyd.
Yeah, Boyd, a 36% three-point shooter on the season. In rhythm, stepping into it. You could tell that one was good as it left his hand.
6 foul calls already against the Vikings, so the next whistle will send Carthage to the free throw line for a 1-on-1 situation. Big offensive rebound there, kicked out to Julian Campbell, still looking for his first points of the contest, and it will be Vikings basketball.
Yeah, Carthage right now, you know, 6 of 17 from the floor, and right in the game. I gotta think, you know, if you're Steve Jurakovic, you're not ecstatic about that shooting percentage, but to shoot it that way, be down 3, you got to be feeling pretty good. I mean, you like the quality of your shots, you got to think these are going to start to drop.
Yeah, and the team's tied right now, 12 rebounds apiece. That's a big part of this. Carthage not losing the battle on the glass as we might expect them to against such a tough North Park team. Definitely some room for optimism for both these teams, a lot of room for improvement. Neither one has played their best first half of the season so far, but it is evenly matched and fast paced as we were hoping it would be.
And if you're looking at North Park right now and you're saying we really want this possession gap, you know, the question right now for me is you expect some regression to the mean, right, in both cases. Carthage should start dropping shots in, we'll see if North Park starts to force more turnovers, find more offensive rebounds, and generate that possession gap they're looking for. You know, kind of the things we expected coming in. I think if you asked Steve before the game, hey, you're going to have possession gap of 2, you're going to be, hey, he'd probably take the possession gap of 2. You ask Sean, hey, Carthage is going to be 6 of 19 shooting, he'd probably take that shooting percentage. So neither team really, while they've both played well, our intensity's high, neither team getting right now production in the areas that generally are their strengths.
I sense an important halftime team talk coming up from both of these head coaches, even with this much time left in the first half. And let's not forget, this game is very significant from an NCAA regional rankings perspective. North Park coming in 3rd in Region 8, Carthage at number 5. Both teams know a win here to send them to the CCIW tournament final could do wonders for their resume, which are already pretty strong as is. Great defensive rebound right there from Julian Campbell.
And another block there by Nesbitt.
Antoine Nesbitt, definitely one of the standout performers of this first half so far. All energy guy, making plays at both ends of the floor. Nice interior pass there to Baladovic. He's double teamed, doesn't stop him from getting the offensive rebound. And will we get another jump ball call or a foul? Things getting a little chippy as both players wrestle for the rebound.
Good piece of officiating by the crew there, getting right into the middle to make sure nothing happened. And it certainly looked like an aggressive but clean play to me.
Yeah, we do eventually get the jump ball signal, but as you said, after the referee's just making sure those both players separate and it doesn't develop into anything more. So the Firebirds will keep possession off the jump ball call, down 3 with just over 7 minutes to go in the first period. Baladovic thought about it, given plenty of space by Jalen Boyd, instead goes to work in the paint, leaves the hook shot short, and a rebound for Boyd. Jackson at the top of the key. Lance Nelson, who's back in the game now for North Park. Jackson coming off the pick and roll, can't quite convert that one. Carthage with a chance to push the pace down at the other end. Nice defensive recovery right there from Marquise Jackson. He left his shot just a little bit short on the last possession, but does well to make sure that Carthage can't immediately capitalize. Julian Campbell. That's a big boy matchup down low with Carl Polk Jr., and we'll get another tie-up call. This time it will go back to the Vikings. Great hands right there. That was Quillen Dixon stealing in to get an arm on that one, doing well to avoid picking up the foul and forcing the jump ball. Julian
Campbell, a pretty big presence. You gotta figure they're going to scheme that somehow. When he gets it that deep, somebody's got to be coming.
Marquise Jackson, once again, acts like he's going to drive inside, then pulls out. Here's Jalen Boyd for another 3, just too strong, but a good rebound right there by Lance Nelson. Vikings finally finding some joy on the offensive glass, and of course, right as I say that, Julian Campbell ensures that the possession does not continue. Here's Baladovic as Carthage looks to get down at the other end. He doesn't like that call, but the referees are going to say that it came off of him last, and it's going to be a turnover forced by the Vikings.
Yep. Now Pumphrey and Van Landingham both sitting with 2. Well, here comes Pumphrey. So Pumphrey playing with 2, Van Landingham sitting with 2. Carthage has got an opportunity to make some separation here if they can take advantage of that.
Yeah, definitely 2 players that North Park would not like to see on the sideline for any extended period of time. We've talked about how key they have been to the team's success this year. And another turnover, this time forced by Carthage. Neither team able to hold on to the ball for too long right now.
Itzy Boyd had an opportunity for a rip drive there, and Campbell did such a nice job of showing early to help.
Miscommunication there on the inbounds pass, and the ball falls to a grateful Jordan Boyd, who is alert. Long 3 kicked out to Shamar Pumphrey, and he splashes it, capitalizing off of turnovers. That is what we're so used to talking about when it comes to this North Park team.
And we've been tracking that as the game goes on, and we're starting to see a little separation here in those possession metrics. So Carthage actually up 1 in offensive rebounding, but a few sort of a flurry of turnovers here for the I almost called Carthage by their old nickname.
The Firebirds.
The Firebirds, there we go. A flurry of turnovers there. It's a +3 now for North Park, and we've seen a couple of those turnovers turn into quick points.
And what was frustrating about that one from a Carthage perspective, they're kind of makers of their own demise. North Park didn't really force that turnover. They just gave it away off the miscommunication, the inbounds pass. North Park was not waiting around to capitalize off of that mistake. And the Firebirds find themselves down 6 as a result as we enter the final 5 minutes of this first half. The winner of this game will have about a 2.5-hour rest advantage over the winner of the Elmhurst-Wheaton semifinal. Tournament championship scheduled for 7 p.m. on Saturday. We certainly hope you'll come back and join us for that one. Should be a great game, regardless of the two teams competing. Another tough play underneath the basket, lots of physicality, and this time Aquillan Dixon is called for the foul instead of successfully managing the jump ball. Kind of a tough one to call, it looks like, Owen. He had his hands on the ball, but when you're reaching in from behind like that, obviously the referee is more inclined to give the foul call.
Yeah, no question. And another one where, you know, we had talked about this, you know, Carthage fouling on a fadeaway jump shot earlier. Here we've got a guard who's buried himself with the ball. You've got 2 defenders. A foul there, just not sensible. Make him make a tough shot.
A little bit of an error there with the scoreboard, but it looks like our operator is fixing it. And we have another foul call on Carthage here to send North Park to the line. It will be Jordan Boyd shooting 2 shots.
Scoreboard operator taking some advice from longtime Wheaton soccer coach Joe Bean, who's over there on the shot clock tonight.
He knows a thing or two about putting points up on the scoreboard, as his teams did for so many years. First free throw is good, and Bernero will check back in for Carthage. Along with Adam Bolwa coming off the North Park bench.
Coach Bean would have been running that shot clock when Thunder mentor Mike Schauer was still flinging them from the cheap seats.
1 for 2 from the line there for Jordan Boyd. Vikings with a 5-point lead. What has been a high energy and close scoring first half here in Wheaton, Illinois. North Park cheerleaders have made the trip from the city. They're trying to fire up their team on the defensive end here. Baladovic cutting inside, kicks it back out. Sigel thought about the 3, he'll take it now, leaves it wide. Another contested rebound, and it will go in favor of the Vikings.
Some of these Carthage drives, the ball's sticking just a half a beat too long when that second defender comes. Of course, this is easier said than done because North Park's doing such a good job of attacking the dribble, and then you got to pick it up and make the pass. But a half second sooner on some of these passes out are going to lead to some cleaner looks for Carthage.
Shamar Pumphrey, another long step back 3, and he is in his bag right now. 28-20 lead for the Vikings as North Park creates some separation on the scoreboard for the first time this evening. Baladovic triple teams, does well to get it out to Bernero. Sigel shot fake on the 3. Quick hands there from North Park, and this should be a run-out layup for Adam Bolwa. It's more than that, it's a run-out dunk. The two-handed flush to put the Vikings up by 10, and the traveling fans from the Windy City are making some noise here in King Arena. Why settle for a layup when you can throw it down with 2 hands? That's what I always say.
If I could do that, I would.
We'll have a media timeout here with 3 minutes left in the first half as we get another look back at that explosive dunk from Adam Bolwa, and the momentum is firmly with the Vikings for the first time today.
Yeah, these last couple of Carthage possessions, we're seeing the ball again sticking on one side of the floor, right? Especially against the defense like North Parks that wants to extend. You want to try to get the ball to the second side of the floor, third side of the floor, so that defense has to move side to side. The more you can move the defense, then your creases to attack the rim start to show themselves. You make it harder to help. You make it harder to get there and kind of harass the drives and get the hands on for those deflections and that sort of a thing. And that last possession right in front of us, we saw pass settle, pass settle, pass settle. Some of that is a credit to North Park's defense because they're not letting the ball snap. Some of that is Carthage has got to have an insistence on doing what they want to do. You can't play a whole offensive possession on one side of the floor like that.
Carthage coming into this one with the top offense in the CCIW, as previously mentioned, averaging 81.2 points per game through their regular season slate. That is an impressive number, but they've got some work to do if they want to live up to that average here in the remainder of this contest.
And it's not just that, it's shooting 50% from the floor, right? And today we've got them at 6 of 23.
And as you said just a minute ago, some of that is poor execution on the offensive end, but a lot of credit has to go to this staunch North Park defense as Shamar Pumphrey goes back to work on the offensive end. Gets it back from Boyd, inside to Jordan Boyd now. He wanted a foul call, but it's a turnover forced by Carthage. And good moves there. Oh, that is how you make up for it. Jordan Boyd smacking that one into the bleachers.
Yep, didn't dwell on the mistake, sprinted the floor, got back into play, and made a big one.
Balatovich will take the open three from the top of the key, leaves it short. That would have been a big basket right there for Carthage. Instead, North Park with a chance to extend their lead.
And North Park really challenging him to shoot that, right? He caught it, sagged way in.
Lance Nelson from deep, and everything is falling for the Vikings at the moment. Head coach Sean Smith is fired up, as he has every right to be. Very pleased with what he's seeing from his team. 10-second call. Carthage fails to get the ball over the halfway line in time. And it is all going the Vikings' way right now. Both of the regular season matchups between these two teams have been very competitive. Carthage ultimately earning a 9-point win in Chicago back earlier this season, but it was close until very late, and then North Park just edging the Firebirds by 3 points a couple of weeks ago on the road in Kenosha. But right now, North Park nursing a 13-point lead as they look to make sure this third matchup is not as competitive. We will get a foul call here on Sigel.
And you got to think, if you had told Coach Jurakovic, hey, 33 points with 2 minutes to go in the first half, I don't know, they'd be happy, but he wouldn't be disappointed. They just have not been able to put the ball in the hoop.
And that is the single biggest problem right now for the Firebirds as they try to create some momentum to work their way back in this game. That starts with getting a defensive rebound here, and they eventually are able to through Sigel. Man, North Park's hands are just so fast, bringing the ball down. And that is a big-time three-pointer. A.J. Johnson, his third of the contest.
And his third from roughly the same spot, right? All out of the press break.
Definitely loves that corner pocket right in front of us here courtside. Lead back down to 10 for North Park as we enter the final minute of the first half. It's Jalen Boyd on the step back, can't connect, but Jordan brings it down. North Park in no hurry right now as this clock winds down with a 33-23 advantage. Shamar Pumphrey with the quick feet. He's going to continue his hot shooting hand right there, but misses on the three-pointer. Just about a 14-second differential here between game clock and shot clock as Carthage brings it up the floor. They know a basket on 2 straight possessions could be a big-time momentum boost given their offensive woes in this first half. Turnaround three there, left it short. Good rebound by Bernero. No foul call on the contact, and Bernero couldn't connect on the layup. Shamar Pumphrey will slow things down in the final 10 seconds of the first half. North Park with a chance to go up 12 or 13 at the halftime whistle. Pumphrey step back, leaves it just short, and it will be Carthage ball with 3.2 left to play.
I just want to call something out. A great move by Sean Smith putting Shamar Pumphrey back on with 2, right? I mean, he's played so well since he came back in. I love the confidence from Coach Smith playing Shamar with 2 and just letting him go do his thing. He's been fantastic since he came back onto the floor.
That's a great point. Half-court attempt here at the buzzer, just off the mark from A.J. Johnson. And that will take us to the intermission here in King Arena of the first semifinal of the 2023 CCIW Men's Basketball Tournament. North Park with a 33-23 lead. Owen, your major takeaway from the first 20 minutes that we just saw?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think if you had told Coach Jurakovic before the game, 33 at the half, I don't know that he's ecstatic, but he definitely isn't disappointed. You know, Carthage defended well enough to be in it, but you know, and it's not that they necessarily, did they get great shots? No. Did they get bad shots? No. But they've got some really good ones that haven't fallen. They've got some open ones that haven't fallen. So, you know, I think you've got some real positives to go into the locker room with if you're Coach Jurakovic, right? Listen, we got to keep guarding, right? We protected possession relatively well. We rebounded relatively well. We've got to make sure we're working for the right shots, and if we do that, we're a good shooting team. That's going to equalize out, right? If you're Coach Smith, I think you got to be pretty pleased that you had Van Landingham sit for a chunk of the half, you had Pumphrey sit for the chunk of the half, and here you are up 10, right? Everything he's wanted to accomplish at the defensive end, I got to think they're feeling pretty good.
You said it. That's a comprehensive first half showing there from the Vikings as the number 2 seed leads at 33-23 at the break here in King Arena. Come back and join us in approximately 13 minutes time for half number 2.
I think one of the fun things about deciding where to go to college is that all of your peers are in kind of the same place. Remember, other people have done this, other people have gone before me and will come after me and are going through it with me now, but it's not as isolating as it may feel. I didn't really know what I was looking for at first. It started with me just scrolling through website after website of colleges. I knew I wanted something that was medium-sized. I knew that I wanted a strong natural sciences department. I knew that I wanted to be challenged academically inside the classroom, but I also didn't want life to stop in the classroom. I'm grateful that I was able to visit as many schools as I did. A large part of my decision to attend Wheaton was influenced by my campus visit. What instantly stood out to me was that everyone on campus was smiling. I felt welcomed, I felt appreciated, seen, and wanted. And so the application process itself was really joy-filled. The decision process was quite a different story. I got the decisions and acceptances and rejections back, and rejections stung. I became very stressed. I started to question, do I want to keep going to school? Do I want to go far? Do I want to come closer to home? And that's where I really started to ask, okay, what are the options remaining before me? And Wheaton was again at the top. I started to work with Ellen, my admissions counselor. I just worked with her really closely and had several hour-long phone calls just talking through what does a Wheaton education look like, what is the value of a Wheaton education, and got to have personal conversations and interactions. So even during a time that was really stressful, I felt valued and seen as a whole person rather than just a GPA and test scores.
first came to college, I thought I knew exactly what my career path would look like. I had my 5-year plan, my 10-year plan, and that all changed drastically, and now my plan looks nothing like that, and that is absolutely okay. In the process of choosing my major, I got so stressed out. I wish that I would have just trusted that in the Lord's timing I would figure it out. It's completely okay not to know your major when you first apply. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay, it's gonna work out, and I think college is the place that you can figure that out. It's also totally okay if you know exactly what you want to do, what you want to study. You actually don't need to declare a major until your sophomore year, so you'll have lots of time to explore different classes. You can go to different lectures on campus. You can talk to professors and hear different perspectives on the world and on different fields of study. We have our Center for Vocation and Career, which provides students with lots of resources to help think through their vocation. And your faculty and advisors always have their doors open to you if you ever want to talk or have questions. College is the time to explore. It's a time to learn about different things that maybe you haven't in the past. And it's a time to develop passions and continue pouring into passions you already have. Yes, this is definitely an important decision, but remember that the Lord is with you, and don't let the importance of the decision steal the joy from this amazing opportunity that you have ahead of you.
When you're looking at colleges, you may look at the sticker price and say to yourself, I'm not applying to that school because I can't afford it. And I would caution you to not close any doors because there is this price tag that is just out of reach. Cost is an important factor, but there's so many other factors to consider. At Wheaton College, we offer academic scholarships as well as Wheaton Grant, which is need-based aid from the college. So a student may receive scholarships in the range of $10,000 to full tuition. They may also receive significant Wheaton Grant based on need, and we determine that, like most institutions do, based on the information that is found on the free application for federal student aid. Colleges aren't commodities. They're not all the same. And there'll be value questions that you have to ask along the way. There's value in knowing that Wheaton alumni have done very well across the board. Now we have students from 50 states and over 160-year history. There's value in that. But I also think there's value in the fact that you will be with a group of peers who are excellent in their academic endeavors, but also who love Jesus Christ. You are not just a student who is performing well in the classroom, but that you are a person that has great potential to serve God's kingdom. You're going to be challenged to grow in your faith because you want to be tested and you want to understand what your theological non-negotiables are. So think about the community you're going to be a part of and how they're going to engage you. We want to challenge you to think about why you believe what you believe by people who will encourage you and motivate you. This is an investment that has strong return, not just for you in terms of career, but for you as a follower of Jesus Christ who will be called to great things. Let us work closely with your family. Let us find out more. We work with great expectation and with hope. We do not want to give up on your calling to be at Wheaton College.
Wheaton College Summer Institute is basically this 2-week event in which students from all over the world can participate. It does a very good job of integrating education, social life, and spiritual life into a very safe environment.
There's so many course offerings, from Shakespeare to music to visual arts to theology.
Each student picks a class and they really hone in on a specific subject.
And we're kind of getting a foretaste of the college experience.
So we're sleeping in the dorms and we eat in Saga. It's the full experience, but only for a 2-week period.
And they give college credit. When looking at whether or not to do this, I was like, there's no downside.
You know, the schedule is incredible.
I've spent a lot of time in class, probably about 4 hours a day, but also a lot of time hanging out.
Then we're going for ice cream, and we're going into Wheaton.
You enjoy it, you have fun, you get to meet new people.
And what I like about it a lot is that the people are so accepting. The people that will just take you as you are and won't criticize you or judge you.
The relationships I've built with people here have been really valuable.
Here, I'm always with someone, I'm always talking, I'm always having a great time, I'm always learning.
And at the same time, building that community with these people who are so different. With people from Colombia and Mexico and Texas and North Carolina. But we can all, you know, find that kind of center of what we all believe and build relationships from that.
Wheaton College Summer Institute is a place where you will grow in your faith, meet very extraordinary people, and learn something you're passionate about.
It has the potential to be so formative that there's no way you shouldn't do it.
Someone who is insatiably curious will thrive in a Christian liberal arts environment. Being a Christian liberal arts student causes you to expect to encounter God and expect to encounter dialogue with other disciplines. I think it creates a posture of wonder, and that's just a great thing for every aspect of life. I was in Calc 1, and my professor was having us read through Romans 12 in Calc 1. And it really invited me to see God at work and to prepare my heart, even in those first few minutes of class, to recognize and say, God is here, and do I have eyes to see him? And do I have eyes to see the way that he's at work? They don't say that any discipline is off limits from God, or that God is off limits from any discipline. Wheaton really does prime you to be a very well-rounded student that's able to think about questions from many different angles, and not just provide a cookie-cutter answer, but really engage with content in a deep and meaningful and intentional way. I got one-on-one time with professors, and they not only cared about my studies, but they also cared about my spiritual well-being and about how I was doing personally. The opportunity to have professors that are spiritual mentors and have PhDs in Old Testament or quantum mechanics or poverty and international relations is amazing. And you get the opportunity to interact with so many other students of different disciplines that all love Jesus and want to love and worship him in what they do. And that's amazing too. And I love Wheaton. Wheaton invited me to dig deep into both the scientific learning I was doing and dig deep into my faith. I have grown in my ability to offer all of myself to the practice that I'm doing as an act of worship. That's what the Christian liberal arts can help form in you, is to do everything to the glory of God.
Welcome back inside King Arena, ladies and gentlemen, here on the campus of Wheaton College, as we're just about a minute away from the second half of this CCIW men's basketball tournament semifinal between the third-seeded Carthage Firebirds and the number 2-seed North Park Vikings. The Vikings nursing a 33-23 lead as we head into the second half here. And Owen, we talked about it as we went into the halftime break. North Park's ability to score off of turnovers, as the referees are coming over to the table to say hi to us.
You got to give us a shout out in the second half now.
Asking for a shout out in the second half.
Everybody's texting me like, man, they didn't say y'all's name.
Owen, I have to say that's a first. I haven't had a referee come over to me and ask for a shout out. That's
we
great.
we didn't announce them. We didn't announce them, but we did give them credit for many good calls.
We thought
right?
they had a pretty good performance in the first half. Usually our PA announcers here in King Arena announce the referee's name, so we may have slipped up on that one. But
we've got the privilege, Gabriel, of sitting next to longtime official Denny Bracco, who has worked the CCIW and a number of other leagues, higher levels, for a long time. He's here courtside with us today, and so it's been a pleasure chatting with Denny.
That's a good brain to pick for a game like this.
We also want to make sure we send a hello to Dr. Ashley and Mary Woodowis, tuned in today. A fond hello to a wonderful couple.
Those would be my parents that Owen is speaking about. My dad is a former professor of his here at Wheaton, and they must really love their son if they're watching the neutral site game, but we appreciate them tuning in as Carthage gets us underway here in the second half. Little floater attempt right there from A.J. Johnson, and we'll get a foul call against the Vikings on the opening possession. Oh, and one of the stat lines that jumped out to us in that first half, 1 of 6 from the floor and just 2 points for Filip Baladovic, the unanimous first-team All-CCIW selection for Carthage. They're really going to have to find a way to unlock his potential on the offensive floor in the second half as Carthage scores a basket on the opening possession.
Yeah, some real intention coming out in that first possession, right? Got the ball to the paint.
Humphrey twisting in the lane, kicks it out, and that's an open three-pointer right there for Jalen Boyd. The perfect response for the Vikings coming out of the break, and they now have an 11-point lead. Second half picking up where the first half left off in terms of speed and intensity. There's Julian Campbell throwing it down, and that's got the Firebird bench and fans on their feet. Jalen Boyd at the other end earning the and one. Excuse me, that was Jordan Boyd. This game's moving so fast, I have to keep looking down at my rosters just to see who I'm talking about, Owen.
Right, we've got a quick 9 points in 1 minute and 5 seconds here, and maybe a 10th.
As we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, the 2 highest scoring teams in the CCIW through the regular season, and they have started this second half with flames on their feet. This game's being played at 100 miles per hour right now. We'll see if Carthage tries to slow it down a little bit on this possession. But North Park doing well to weather the early storm, up 12 points here. It's Antoine Nesbitt that had a solid first half, at least early on, trailed off a little bit towards the end of that first half for Carthage. That was a tough reverse layup right there for A.J. Johnson, couldn't get it to drop. And that's another transition attempt right there. Marquise Jackson this time going up for the layup. Doesn't fall though, and both teams coming up empty on their last possessions. Marquise Jackson just takes it away from Baladovic. Once again fails on the layup, but this time draws the foul. Baladovic sacrificing one for the team right there, and Jackson will head to the line for 2 shots after that turnover.
And it's just been a little pinball here early, right? That pace, that tempo, the ball's popping.
Fans definitely getting their money's worth so far in this CCIW semifinal. Jackson splashes the first one in. North Park hit 40. Vikings looking to earn their 21st win of a really outstanding season. It is not easy to earn the #2 overall seed, first round bye in a conference as deep as the CCIW. And in his first season, head coach Sean Smith has his team 18 minutes away from the CCIW Tournament Championship appearance. Largest lead of the afternoon for North Park at 41-27. 2 minutes into this first half. Foul call against Marquise Jackson there.
Yeah, Carthage comes out, scores on their first 2 possessions of the half, and it's still gone from 10 to 14.
It really feels like facing an uphill battle when you play a team as fast and as talented as this North Park squad. Carthage just have to try to score a basket on each possession and chip away a little bit, but they come up short there through Campbell. And here's the Vikings pushing the pace once again. Another clutch offensive rebound, this time from Jordan Boyd, and he puts the layup back, and they push the lead to 16. Corner three there on the far side from Sigel, rims out, and Van Landingham comes down with the board. Shamar Pumphrey with that explosive speed once again. Tough player, and that is a big layup, and the North Park bench explodes.
You start to feel this one slipping away. Now, the trick here to remember is that North Park's pace can build a lead and it can give a lead back, right? When you've got this many possessions in a game, 18 points isn't as big as when you've got a slower tempo game. So I think for Carthage, the key thing right here, they don't have long, but they've still got time. But they've got to start consistently getting great offensive possessions, and they've got to start dropping some of those open looks in from the perimeter. They just haven't been falling.
Both CCIW men's quarterfinals on Tuesday night were really competitive, exciting matchups that came down to the last couple of possessions. Carthage earned the right to play here this evening with the 74-69 home win over the 6th-seeded Illinois Wesleyan Titans up in Kenosha on Tuesday. Elmhurst in the other one as the 4-seed, edging out number 5 North Central 84-80. And so far this game does not look to be trending in that same way in terms of how close it is on the scoreline, nor in the same way that the first two regular season meetings between these two teams ended up being. But as Owen pointed out, there is a path back into this contest for Carthage. We'll see what kind of offensive adjustments they make down the stretch to finally get some of those shots falling. North Park putting in a really impressive shift on both ends of the floor right now to build this 18-point advantage. Carthage yet to hit 30 points on the scoreboard into the second half now. A pretty surprising figure for the top scoring offense in the CCIW. Nesbitt given some room on the perimeter by Jackson. He'll go inside to Julian Campbell. Nice turn and finish from the big man.
Real light on his feet with that move.
Jalen Boyd thought about looking for Jordan on the interior pass there. Instead kicks it out to Jackson for the three. Can't get it to go. But that is Jordan Boyd with a tough offensive rebound. Goes for the turnaround floater. Can't get it to fall. Carthage will bring it back down at the other end. Looking to chip into this 16-point deficit. Here's Buladovic, and that's what we've come to expect from the all-conference player. His second basket of the contest. So a little bit of a swing here. 4-point run for the Firebirds coming out of that last stoppage. As we head to the under 16 media timeout at the next whistle. 45-31 advantage on the scoreboard for the Vikings, trying to stretch that here through Van Landingham. He wanted a foul call with the contact, no whistle forthcoming, and Carthage will bring it up the other end. Buladovic doubled, and Julian Campbell, oh, he lost possession. That would have been an easy layup or dunk. He just let it slip out of his hands, and it goes from bad to worse as Colton Sigel is charged with the foul back in defensive transition.
Yeah, and now the key here for Carthage is to not get wrapped up in that miss, right? Because they came out of the timeout, they got it to the rim twice, they had their third opportunity to score at the rim, he just fumbled the pass, right? It doesn't change how you're playing. You can't let that error get caught up, right? You can't let that change your intention. Came out of the timeout, did what you needed to do. Move on from the fumble and focus right back on what made a difference for you in those last 2-3 possessions.
Yeah, it's one of those fluke plays that if you're down by 5 points in the first half, doesn't feel very consequential, but now when you're down 14, you're chasing the opposition on every single possession. That could prove to be costly. As Owen said, we'll see if they can compartmentalize and move on quickly from that error. I think Coach Steve Jarakovic was still looking for an explanation on that foul call and defensive transition from Sigel. Either way, Vikings will have the ball up 14 here, just over 4 minutes into this second half.
Yeah, and I didn't get a good look at what happened, Gabriel. Did you? It happened right in front of us. but I was still looking behind the play.
Yeah, it was easy to get distracted by that missed layup, that seemingly wide open dunk or layup attempt that Campbell would have had. I definitely saw Sigel and Colton Van Landingham collide, but it looked more accidental than anything else. A little bit surprised to see the whistle there. Definitely a break for North Park. 2 whistles early on against the Vikings in this second half. 3 fouls on Carthage. Certainly be keeping an eye on that tally as this second half progresses. Shamar Pumphrey and Marquise Jackson getting some clarification from the officials right in front of us here as we get set to resume play. Just a reminder, you probably already know this, but the winner of this semifinal will face the winner of the 1st-seeded Wheaton Thunder and the 4th-seeded Elmhurst Blue Jays in tomorrow night's CCIW Tournament Championship scheduled for 7 p.m. in King Arena. First time since 2009 that Wheaton has hosted the CCIW tournament in its full intended format with fans in attendance. They, of course, hosted the tournament championship against Illinois Wesleyan a couple of years ago, but due to COVID restrictions, there were no fans in attendance, and it certainly had a different feel to it, as that is a big-time three-pointer coming out of the timeout by Quillen Dixon.
And Pumphrey operating off the bounce there, sliced right into the lane. Had the vision to make a pass out, hit a shooter in rhythm, in the shooting pocket. Really a great play by him to set that shot attempt up.
An important 5-point swing either side of that media timeout in favor of the Vikings. That's a nice step and jumper right there from Antoine Nesbitt, but it unfortunately rims out, and the Vikings will bring it down the floor. Antoine Nesbitt and A.J. Johnson, the second team All-CCIW representatives for this Firebirds team. Both of these squads with 3 honorees. And no surprise, the talented players are coming to the fore in such a intriguing matchup here in this first semifinal. Air ball right there from Jalen Boyd. Jordan tried to save it underneath the basket, but it ends up in the hands of the Firebirds. That's a quick transition 3 right there from Johnson. He leaves it short, and Marquise Jackson will push the pace again for North Park. Open 3 in transition here for Dixon. Rims out, Bulanovich with the board. North Park looking for that back-breaking three-pointer to get it up to a 20-point lead. Bulanovich draws contact going to the rim, and he'll shoot 2. Second foul of the contest on Jordan Boyd. He's played a lot of minutes in this contest, doing well to limit the whistles called on him as Bulanovich misses the first free throw. For 2 from the line, another crucial 2 points given away from the Firebirds there. Bulanovich certainly has not had his best performance so far this evening. Obviously, North Park's defense is a big reason for that as he tries to go for the steal right there, but it's wrestled away by Adam Bola. And we'll get a foul called against the Firebirds underneath the hoop.
And Carthage right now, 15 from A.J. Johnson, 16 from the rest of the team. They've got to find some offensive production somewhere right now.
Yeah, it's a pretty telling statistic, a standout performance from A.J. Johnson, but he'll be asking for some help from his teammates if they are to mount a furious second half comeback here.
And Carthage not been nearly as tight defensively this half either, right? We're at 16 points 6 minutes in after giving up 33 in the first 20.
And it was about that run with, I believe, about 8 minutes left in the first half where North Park really started to extend this lead. And that seems to be the critical point of this game so far, where the Vikings have not looked back from that great run. It was a very competitive one-possession contest before that. Marquise Jackson not happy with that foul call on him.
That'll be Jackson's second, so North Park now 5 with 2 fouls, but nobody with a third.
A.J. Johnson once again heating up from beyond the arc. Another big shot for the Firebirds to get them 3 more points. Marquise Jackson a little bit wild there, couldn't quite find a teammate with that pass, and shout out to Wheaton assistant coach John Panner with the quick hands on the sideline.
He's got the two things quick about John Panner. He's got quick hands and he's got a quick wit.
Sets you up pretty well for life, having those two skill sets in your locker.
Now, we can go through some of his flaws, too, the leading of which is he's a huge Michigan Wolverines fan.
And you're not speaking out of personal bias at all here when you say that, I'm sure.
No chance.
Totally objective analysis there, as Tanner Lamb this time knocks it down from deep, and a little bit of momentum here for the Firebirds as their fans start to make some noise. Tough drive into the lane. Carthage doesn't like that foul call, but it looks like Quillen Dixon will go to the line to shoot a pair.
Yeah, and a tough outcome for Carthage there. It looked like Johnson and Lamb just got tangled up a little bit in that, it wasn't even a mixed-up defensive coverage. They just weren't looking at each other, caught feet, and that's what allowed that penetration.
Shamar Pumphrey will check back into the game. 2 fouls on him, as Owen mentioned a minute ago. 1 for 2 from the line for Quillen Dixon. And it is a 14-point lead with 13 left to play here in King Arena. Little miscommunication there, and North Park will try to turn it into points on the other end. Nice little hesitation pass there from Shamar Pumphrey, turning on the style.
Yeah, and that was an unforced turnover. Those are the ones you got to get rid of.
Yeah, Miladovich committing the turnover and then giving up the foul. Not a sequence that he'll be thrilled with as he looks to play himself into this game. Adam Bola will be at the line for a pair. Lead back up to 15 for North Park. They did share the regular season league title in the 2016-17 season 6 years ago in an impressive campaign for the Chicago side, but not a lot of success in the CCIW tournament, specifically in recent years for North Park. They're looking to rewrite some history here this weekend, and we'll have a goaltending call. Easy decision for the referee as that ball was bouncing back off the backboard.
Yeah, it wasn't a surprise Bola got to that, though, wasn't it, after that dunk we saw him throw down in the first half?
Certainly has some explosiveness. He'll check out of the game to be replaced by Jalen Boyd.
You remember the Dick Vitale all-airport team? I think Bola would have a chance.
That's exactly right. That was, if he's there a second sooner, that's a diaper dandy call on that block. Pumphrey finds Van Landingham, who's actually had a pretty quiet game by his standards. He is certainly one of the key players on this North Park side. We haven't called his name a lot this evening, but that just speaks to the impressive all-around team performance that it's been. Loose ball underneath the hoop. Dixon comes down with it. Still fighting on the inside. Triple team now. No whistle, despite some contact. Big defensive rebound there for Carthage through A.J. Johnson.
Well, part of what makes North Park so tough is all three of those guards are so skilled. Van Landingham can look quiet. Well, great. Those other two guys have played so well.
Yeah, right on cue. Van Landingham comes up with the steal and turns it into points with the tough layup. I think you heard you over here, Owen.
You'd be hard-pressed to find a game where all three of those guys played poorly on the same night.
Yeah, definitely a triple threat to make up some key minutes and points and leading statistics on such a talented roster that North Park have. Banks in the three. Antoine Nesbitt, not the cleanest shot we've seen tonight, but an effective one to get Carthage back on the board, lead down to 13.
And they're chipping away here slowly, hanging around.
That's a cliche to say, but you got to take it one possession at a time at this point in the game. And unfortunately for Carthage, they can't get the stop there as Jalen Boyd hits it on the smooth release. Miladovich looking to push the pace a little bit, and we will get a foul call there. Looks like that will be whistled on Carl Polk Jr. going up above the rim to try to get the block. Oh, no, correction, that was whistled on Quillen Dixon instead. We'll have a media timeout with just over 10 minutes left to play in the second half. North Park nursing a comfortable 57-42 lead, but as we've seen from the last couple of possessions, it's not exactly signed, sealed, delivered just yet. Still a little bit of time to work with here for Carthage. We'll see if they can generate any momentum coming out of the next stoppage.
Taking a quick look at the box score, North Park has such a balanced box right now. Pumphrey and Jalen Boyd with 12 apiece, and then you go down the box, it's 4, 6, 6, 3, 3, 4, 3, 4. They're just getting production from everybody stepping onto the court right now.
Yeah, really a thorough team performance so far from North Park.
And you look at the things that should be encouraging. You've got Jackson and Van Landingham, a combined 3 for 13, right? Should be encouraging. And yet they've got so much production from up and down the lineup. Everybody's chipping in some way.
That's a good point. These box score statistics. Basketball is a funny game that way. You isolate these figures and you kind of, if you weren't watching the game, you'd kind of think that Carthage was doing better than they are. But as we've talked about, really their shooting struggles from open play has been their single biggest issue tonight. Unable to convert so many of their offensive chances. 57 points is not an absurd tally to give up at this stage of the game, especially against such a talented, free-flowing North Park team, but only 42 to their name. Will be disappointing so far for the Firebirds, and it stays on 42 as Anthony Bernero misses his first free throw. Julian Campbell will check back in for the Firebirds as Bernero takes a seat following his made free throw. Pumphrey will bring it up the floor, and you can tell North Park is happy just to slow it down a little bit compared to what we've seen the last few minutes. The clock is definitely their friend at this stage in the game. Nice bounce pass inside to Jordan Boyd. He hits the deck, and we will get a travel call. I think he was hoping for a foul whistle right there, but just kind of fell over. Tanner Lamb almost got his hand inside there, but not enough contact on Boyd to warrant the foul. Approaching the 10-minute mark here in this second half inside King Arena. See if Carthage can get some points on the board here and make this thing interesting late on. This is Antoine Nesbitt on the perimeter. Nice pass outside. Good ball movement here from Carthage. That would have been a big-time three-pointer from A.J. Johnson, who has had the hot hand tonight. Tough rebound right there from Nesbitt. And I don't really know what to say about that, Owen. That was just a heck of a play right there to earn the trip to the free throw line. So we get the replay here. Easy block call there against Jordan Boyd. That'll be his third of the game. And that is a hard-earned couple of points from Nesbitt to get the Carthage fans fired up.
And you got one of two possibilities there. He's either lucky or his focus to keep his eyes on the rim and release that thing in line, pretty impressive. Maybe a combination of both.
I'm inclined to give him the benefit of the doubt. I know I couldn't do that, so we're gonna give him some props for making a three-point play out of nothing right there. And just like that, the lead is down to 11. If Carthage can keep North Park off the board here, we'll see that will be a trip to the line here for Jordan Boyd, having just gotten a foul called on him on the other end. Now draws the foul this time against Julian Campbell. That is his third of the game. And the next whistle against the Vikings will mean that both teams are in the bonus, as Carthage was just called for their 7th foul. North Park just slowing down a little bit on offense these last few possessions, as Carthage has managed to seize the momentum in this one and step up their defensive efficiency a little bit. Big free throw right here for Boyd, and he does well to convert that one. Lead back up to 12, under 10 minutes left to play.
And Carthage 9 of 17 from the floor in this half. So, you know, what do they have, 6 or 7 field goals in the first half, and now 9 already halfway through the second.
Tanner Lamb got the leg kick right there. Felt some contact as he was releasing that one. Carthage wanted a foul call, but it's not forthcoming, and a big defensive stop right there for North Park. You talked about that in the first half. At a certain point, it's got to regress to the mean. You expect these shooting numbers to go up for Carthage, and they have, but North Park can come up with some big baskets just to maintain possession. Van Landingham did well to hit the ground and try to pick up the offensive rebound there. He's shaken up a little bit after a hard fall. It will be the Firebirds' ball after a stoppage.
Yeah, Van Landingham and Johnson there, collision in the air on that rebound, and both guys a little shaken up. Well, we'll take a minute to remind you that this copyrighted broadcast is the property of WTSN, which has a right of approval of the announcers and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Brett Marhanka is prohibited.
The boss man always loves getting a shout out like that. We appreciate that, Owen. Just about set to resume play. Van Landingham, fortunately, is okay. He's still on the floor. Bilotovich will inbound it for Carthage here. And you get the feeling that this is a pivotal possession. If Carthage can come up with some points here, they are back in this contest.
No question. They've shown such great discipline to chip away at it here.
And the second half kind of inching along. The first half felt like it flew by with the high tempo possessions that we were seeing. The second half, the clock has seemingly slowed down in Carthage's favor. There's still a lot of time for them to mount a comeback. They'll be disappointed not to come up with some points on that possession. Van Landingham trying to make them pay, and he does. Turns around and stares down the crowd. A big three right there for North Park's sophomore guard.
And you talk about a make or miss game. Bilotovich gets a great shot at the rim. That happens to be a miss. Turn around, Van Landingham with an easy one that happens to be a make. And all of a sudden, instead of 10, it's 15.
Yeah, that's a unselfish hustle play right there from Tanner Lamb getting back in defensive transition. He looks to be shaken up a little bit. He might head to the bench for some treatment as he drew that foul getting back, but that's what this North Park team is all about. They come up with a huge steal on one end and they turn it into, if not outright points, at least a trip to the free throw line just a couple of seconds later.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we've got a discussion coming here. The officials are sending the teams to their benches, and it looks like they're checking in with the scorer's table about something.
There was no doubt on who committed the fouls. We see the referee hold up the 12 there for Tanner Lamb. I wonder if they were thinking about upgrading that from just a personal shooting foul. Doesn't appear that they have. We'll see now as the players come back out on the floor.
And, you know, Division I game, you'd often see them going to the monitor to evaluate a play like that, and obviously we don't have that type of technology here.
And so it will stay a personal foul against Tanner Lamb, just his first of the game. We don't know if you could see it on your monitors at home before that last time out, but head coach Sean Smith and Mike Schauer sharing a joke and some nice comments with each other on the sideline as the Wheaton head men's basketball coach is patrolling the sidelines, as we're used to seeing him doing, as he gets set for his team's semifinal at 7:15 p.m. Even if you're of a North Park or Carthage persuasion, we certainly hope you'll come back and join us for that one. Wheaton and Elmhurst get together, there are always fireworks. It's always a good game, and we should be in for another treat of a semifinal this evening. Tough inbound pass right there, and that is what Marquise Jackson is all about. Another foul underneath the hoop against Carthage. This time it will be Jordan Boyd drawing the contact and heading to the free throw line. Marquise Jackson, the transfer from Lewis University, the senior out of Macon, Georgia. He is 5th in steals per game and 9th in steals in the country. 5th in steals for the CCIW, 9th in the country. A very impressive figure for this North Park senior transfer. Such a key player, the second team all-conference member for this Vikings team. 1 out of 2 from the line for Jordan Boyd. Lead back up to 17 points as North Park weathers the Carthage run over the last few minutes well to create some separation on the scoreboard once again. Bilotovich double teamed, kicks it out to Julian Campbell. Hands it off to A.J. Johnson, shot clock winding down. Campbell marched in, matched up against Jordan Boyd inside. And that's a big offensive rebound. Campbell will step back for the three, misses the shot, but gets the foul call. He'll head to the line for a triple. Great offensive rebound initially by Nesbitt. Jackson stealing in, had a little swipe at him, but didn't think he made contact. He's disappointed with that foul call.
And this Carthage team refusing to go away. I mean, not that we would expect them to, right? You don't get to this point in the year without the mental toughness to keep competing in a game like this. But to have it to 12, to have the shot they got, and then all of a sudden you got the three in transition, you got 2 turnovers, fouls at the rim, and it's a 17-point game, and yet here they are right back to it, right? Methodical, focused on executing what they need to do to try to get back into the game. That time's just starting to work against them.
Yeah, what's largely been a frustrating game for the Firebirds so far after about the first 10 or 12 minutes of that first half, being held to 46 points at this point in the contest. But as Owen said, they deserve a lot of credit for not backing down without a fight here in this CCIW semifinal in King Arena. Scoreboard's not in their favor, nor is the time, but there is enough left on the clock to potentially make things interesting down the stretch here, particularly if Campbell can knock down these free throws coming out of the timeout.
And no change for North Park, right? I mean, the pedal is down, and they are competing. The pressure these guards are able to put on is a lot of fun to watch, isn't it?
Yeah, if they are indeed to close this one out, that's going to be a tasty tournament final matchup, regardless of who they play tomorrow, whether it's Wheaton or Elmhurst. Just from an objective, neutral standpoint, this North Park team is a lot of fun to watch when they're able to push the pace and get points off of turnovers, as they love doing. And Carthage, at times, despite being down by 17, has done pretty well to manage that furious storm that North Park likes to throw at them. Campbell here at the line. Carthage shooting just 40% from the free throw line, but that's off of only 5 attempts. Haven't had a lot of trips to the charity stripe tonight, and Campbell leaves the first one short.
Yeah, North Park with 15 free throw attempts in the second half.
That differential definitely a contributing factor to this split that we're seeing on the scoreline right now. Campbell knocks down the second one.
But some of that is the physicality North Park plays with. They force the issue at the rim so much.
2 for 3 from the line for the freshman out of Lansing, Illinois. Lead back down to 15. We'll see if the Vikings can stretch it further on this trip down the floor. Jordan Boyd hands off to Jalen. Big turnover forced right there by Carthage. We'll see if they can get it out of the backcourt. Those quick hands by Antoine Nesbitt, but he immediately found himself doubled, as North Park did well to prevent the breakaway transition basket. Another key possession right here for the Firebirds to see if they can chip into this 15-point deficit. Step back from Campbell, leaves it well short. I wonder if Jordan Boyd got a piece of that as he was releasing the ball. Under 7 minutes left to play here inside King Arena. Jordan Boyd isolated at the top of the key, hands off to Shamar Pumphrey, turns around for the three, doesn't get it to drop. Carthage, a little bit of miscommunication there. I think Colton Sigel was holding off his defender and trying to allow Julian Campbell to come up with the rebound, but it will eventually spin out of bounds for Carthage ball anyway. North Park going with the soft press right now, then they back away and let Shamar Pumphrey go one-on-one against Antoine Nesbitt. That's been a really fun guard matchup to watch this afternoon. Drive inside from A.J. Johnson. Nice touch on the floater, but just rims out. Possession will keep it alive. Julian Campbell with the long three over Jordan Boyd. It's not easy to hit a shot like that. Another big offensive rebound. Baladovic underneath the basket. Looks like plenty of contact, but they didn't whistle for the foul. And now Baladovic has whistled for a foul. I think they will count the basket.
Yeah, basket's good. That foul was for a little little extra action after the shot, I think.
Yeah, I got to be honest, on the replay, it looks like a bit of a harsh call. It's two guys kind of swiping at each other, but didn't come to anything serious, and Bulatovich walked away quickly, but North Park will take that whistle in their favor. Lead down to 13 now as we approach the 6-minute mark. That was Bulatovich's third of the game. Shamar Pumphrey once again going mano-a-mano on Antoine Nesbitt, and that is Colton Van Landingham with an impressive reverse layup to put North Park back up by 15, a much-needed basket for the Vikings. And thrown away on the other end by A.J. Johnson. North Park stepping up defensively once again.
And Van Landingham doing a nice job of finding the back door. His man turns his head to see the ball coming downhill, makes his little steps up to help, and Van Landingham just makes a little backdoor cut, and then a really tough finish in traffic.
Here's Marquise Jackson, nice no-look pass out to Pumphrey. You can tell he's thinking about the three, steps inside for a long two, leaves it short. Jackson with a tough rebound. Van Landingham goes right around Antoine Nesbitt. He's doubled underneath the hoop and ends up committing the turnover. Ball bounces off of him, out of bounds, and it will be Carthage possession. I think he was going for the behind-the-back pass. It looked like he was actually trying to flip it behind him to hand off to Carl Polk Jr.
Sure looked that way.
Going for the style points there with the 15-point lead. Julian Campbell will try another three from the top of the key. He has not found his range tonight from beyond the arc. And another fruitless possession for the Firebirds as we creep underneath the 5-minute mark of this second half.
Yeah, Campbell, a 33% three-point shooter on the season, but has not found the bottom of the net from that distance tonight.
I was here for the Carthage's matchup against Wheaton back in January here in King Arena, and he stroked a few from deep, came up with some big shots in that game, but has not had the same success tonight. Marquise Jackson stepped back for three, and this place would have gone up to another level if he had converted on that. Instead, he'll head to the line for 3 shots.
I feel like I keep talking about this, but Pumphrey's skill, his ability, gets to 2, uses the jump stop, uses the pivot, and finds Jackson. He's such a savvy operator off the bounce. When he gets into the paint, he almost always makes the right decision. Never hurried, never rushed into something. Just a lot of fun to watch him.
Yeah, and if Wheaton, the regular season champions, the 1 seed in the tournament, if they can take care of business against Elmhurst here on their home floor this evening, if we are in fact to see a 1-versus-2 tournament final, Shamar Pumphrey versus Tyson Cruikshank, that's one of the best point guard matchups in Division III that you could ask for. It'll be a lot of fun to see those two guys go head-to-head for the 3rd time this year, if in fact Wheaton can get the win. But we know how tough of a side Elmhurst is. The Blue Jays will give it everything they have in the 2nd semifinal coming up tonight. North Park just 4.5 minutes away from seeing this one out and booking their spot in the tournament championship game. 67-50 lead as Carthage tries to generate some momentum here and stage a late game rally. North Park fans don't like that call on Pumphrey as he was boxing out A.J. Johnson. That'll be the 3rd foul call against the junior guard out of Chicago, the hometown hero.
And North Park now, following that foul on Pumphrey, 4 players with 3, but with 4 and change to play, doesn't seem like foul trouble is going to have an impact.
2 nice free throws there from A.J. Johnson to cut it back down to 15. Next whistle will likely take us to our final media timeout of this contest. Marquise Jackson going up at the rim, and that is a tough layup over Julian Campbell. Size mismatch, but it doesn't stop North Park's dangerous guard and leads back up to 17. There's Antoine Nesbitt on the perimeter, looks inside for Campbell. Van Landingham skies up and over him. Good elevation right there from Nesbitt to keep it alive for Carthage. Corner three, the foul is called. Offensive foul. They're going to say that he swung his leg out and tripped Pumphrey, who was getting over there in defense. We get a look there. There was definite contact and certainly not a foul against Pumphrey, so you can see why the referee called that one.
Yeah, and really another one, not a whole lot of question there. That's that leg kick as an offensive foul. That's a point of emphasis, has been for a few years now. So good piece of officiating by the crew there to be on top of that one.
Yeah, the surprise in my voice came from the fact that we're so used to seeing that call go against the defense. When you hear a whistle on a three-point shot, you just assume the guy's going to be going to the line for 3 shots. But as you said, the officials are right on top of that. Good whistle there and an important stand there for North Park defensively.
It's really an extension of what they call the vertical cylinder principle, right? Which you tend to see a vertical cylinder violation against a defender who encroaches on the offensive player's kind of vertical space. But same principle here. If the offensive player leaves their vertical cylinder in that situation, it's going to be an offensive foul.
North Park in this regular season amounted 217 steals over the course of conference play, crushing the record that was actually set just last year by Elmhurst with 151. Head coach Sean Smith has a very distinctive style that he wants his team to play. Owen, you've got the stats in front of you. Can you tell me how many steals they have tonight?
Yeah, I'm looking at the turnover stats right now. 17 turnovers for Carthage.
Yeah.
11 of those are steals. So what, 2/3 of the turnovers are live ball turnovers. That's a big deal because those typically turn into points.
So the Vikings now pushing 230 steals on the season, which is an astonishing figure.
It's astronomical.
They are fifth in the country coming into this game in that category, averaging 13.3 per contest, and that is an exclamation point type play right there as Adam Bola throws it down, not for the first time this evening. Lead back up to 19 as North Park looks to close this one out without too much fuss. That's a nice turnaround move right there from A.J. Johnson to respond. Marquise Jackson with the explosive speed. Goes back up. Oh, we have a wedge ball. Those are always fun. Will be a jump ball call and stay with the Vikings because of the possession arrow. That was Carl Polk Jr. leaving it a little bit short. I wonder if A.J. Johnson actually got a piece of that jumping up to defend. Either way, it will stay with the Vikings.
And Gabriel, this crowd you've commented on a couple times this evening is getting bigger. Folks are starting to trickle in for this second game now, wanting to make sure they get a seat.
Van Landingham fired up after that tough layup to push the lead up to 19, North Park's largest of the night. You can tell he was pumped with himself for coming away with that tough basket. And Owen, I wonder if, especially assuming North Park goes on to close this game out, I wonder how many Vikings fans are going to stay for game 2 and watch the next semifinal, do an early scouting report on who they might face tomorrow night.
Well, I can tell you I'd be floored if Gregory Sager leaves early. There's going to be at least one Vikings fan in the house. That guy is a consumer and connoisseur of Division III basketball, and you give him a doubleheader like this, there's no way he's dipping out early.
Yeah, the CCIW, just such a fun conference to monitor and keep up with and cover throughout the season. We've talked at length about the depth that this league provides. Wheaton doing really well to come away with the regular season title. I mean, you watch a team like North Park and you see the kind of performance that they put in tonight. The fact that anyone was able to outlast them and go one game better than them is really, and it's a testament to this current Wheaton squad. And even this Carthage team, who finished third and is trailing by a hefty dose right now, they've got some real talent. They are a fun side to watch. And this league is a force to be reckoned with at the Division III level.
No question. Well, and if you look at this Carthage roster of the guys we've seen play tonight, they're just going to graduate one. Now, that one is a good one, right? Balatovich, a consensus first-team all-conference player, and yet we've seen some of these underclassmen look really, really good today.
That's a great point. Definitely some reason for optimism for the future for this Firebird squad. As another basket underneath the hoop there, Adam Bolwa with the soft lay-in. And this lead has ballooned up to 19 points as we are under 2 minutes left to play here in King Arena. Balatovich looking for the tough spin layup. Drops that one in.
Scoring off what DePaul coach Rusty Lloyd would call a methodical drive.
North Park's 13 CCIW wins this year, the most for the program since 1991. Obviously, this won't be credited technically as their 14th conference win as we are into the postseason now, but a 14th win against a conference opponent. Really a testament to the job that head coach Sean Smith has done in his first year with the program, and they are deservedly cruising towards their CCIW tournament championship appearance.
Obviously a program that's just dripping with tradition. And Coach Smith brings some of the luster back, no doubt about that.
And a chance to add another trophy, it seems, will come tomorrow night for the Vikings as they look to claim a CCIW tournament crown. Oh, man. That is just high-quality basketball.
That is an exclamation point right there, isn't it?
A smile on the face of Lance Nelson as he tracks back defensively. He was just looking to tee his teammate up for the transition dunk. Carthage taking advantage of the slow defense and getting a point back on the other end. But it is party time in Chicago for this North Park men's basketball team. We're going to look at it here on the replay. I believe that was Adam Bolwa applying the finishing touch. Who else would it be? We've called his name so many times tonight on plays like that. He loves to get up above the rim and slam it home. And this is a nice touch here from the two head coaches as we see the Carthage starters head to the bench. Head coach Steve Jarakovic giving them their curtain call in their final conference matchup of the year. They'll wait to see if their name is called in the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship field when those selections come out on Monday.
The one rotation guy staying on the floor for Carthage appears to be Balatovich.
Yeah, which is only fitting. A guy that has given so much to this program over the last few years. The senior out of Harwood Heights, Illinois. Good to see him still on the floor as head coach, giving him that respect in these final minutes here. North Park also making a couple of changes, putting in some guys off the bench who don't normally see the floor. That's a nice step back three right there from Quillen Dixon, and North Park has hit the 80-point mark this evening.
And now here comes Balatovich.
Yeah, nice moment right there with head coach Jarakovic as the two embrace on the sideline. You can tell Balatovich is understandably disappointed with the way this game has gone, and he has struggled from the floor tonight, but he is a CCIW gold standard type of player. First team, unanimous first team all-conference selection. Good to see him get his curtain call. That's a two-point jumper attempt from Griffin Dawn. Splashes that in to cut it back down to 20 points. North Park will see if they take one more shot here, asking for the shot clock to be corrected, and it has been turned off. So the Vikings will dribble this one out. They will seal an 82-62 dominant win over the third-seeded Carthage College Firebirds in this CCIW tournament final. And I can't speak for you, Owen, but I can't wait to come back here tomorrow night and watch this North Park team play again. They are a lot of fun.
Agreed. The tempo, the enthusiasm, the energy they play with, and yet the skill level those guards show, playing at pace, just incredible to watch.
So our hats off to the Carthage College Firebirds as an impressive conference season comes to a close for them. As I mentioned a minute ago, they'll wait a few days to see if they make the NCAA tournament field that's released in just a few days' time. North Park moving on to the CCIW Tournament Championship. They will play the winners of the first-seeded Wheaton Thunder and the fourth-seed Elmhurst Blue Jays tomorrow at 7 p.m. here in King Arena with a trophy on the line. That'll do it here from us in Wheaton, Illinois. Gabriel Woodowis alongside Owen Handy, bringing you both conference tournament semifinal games tonight. 30 minutes put on the clock. Let me pull out my phone and see exactly what time we have here. 6:41, so tip-off time just over 30 minutes away for that second semifinal. We certainly hope you'll come back and join us for that one. Owen, parting thoughts from the first game that we just witnessed?
No, just an impressive display from the North Park Vikings, a team that is receiving votes in the D3 Hoops Top 25 and probably better than what that says. This is clearly a top 25 team. You know, they're a skilled two-way team. They can score. They really can put some pressure on defensively. A well-earned win for the Vikings and a deserving berth in the conference championship game tomorrow.
We look forward to calling that one regardless of who they're playing tomorrow night. The answer is either the Wheaton Thunder or the Elmhurst Blue Jays, and we hope you'll come join us in 30 minutes time for that second semifinal here from King Arena. The first one finishes 83 for North Park, 63 for Carthage.